Hello and welcome to the Cellar Door. I'm George and today I'm in McLaren Vale in South Australia. And when I say in, I mean above. I'm about to head into Never Never Distillery to try some of their delicious gin and enjoy a spectacular view. Let's go. 45 minutes south of Adelaide, McLaren Vale is home to some of Australia's oldest and most acclaimed vineyards. But today I'm taking a break from the grapes and hitting the juniper berries. So, gin lovers, this one's for you. Amongst the vines and atop Chalk Hill is a relatively young but highly awarded distillery. One that embraces the tones and flavours of the region's Mediterranean climate. First up, I'm meeting co-founder Sean. Hello, Sean.
Hi, George. Thanks for coming up.
Thanks for having me at your wonderful distillery.
Absolutely. Welcome to Never Never Distilling Co here at Chalk Hill.
Excellent. Now, I assume we're going to go for a wander inside.
Yes, absolutely. This is the first pass of the walk just to the big reveal of the wonderful view.
Ooh, how exciting.
Let's follow me.
Okay. So, Sean, you're one of the co-founders of Never Never?
Absolutely. I'm the brand director.
Yeah.
I'm one of two other guys that started this business back at the end of 2016.
Mm-hmm. So it's been a little while?
It has been. We've only been here at Chalk Hill since March in 2020. So it was a pretty eventful opening.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Eventful and then not so eventful.
Yeah, well, yeah, we got a few opportunities to have a reset.
Yes, excellent. So we're approaching some kind of big reveal. What should I be expecting?
Well, the view up here is absolutely spectacular. We think it's some of the best views in McLaren Vale, and it's certainly complemented by, I think, the beauty of the building itself.
Tell me about the building.
So it's effectively a converted shed. We started the build midway through 2019 and we opened the doors in March 2020. So as you can see, it was well worth the wait.
This view is incredible.
It's quite spectacular, right? It's probably some of the most magical kind of views that you can find here in McLaren Vale.
Yeah, and I mean, this is also extremely beautiful as well. What's happening up here?
I know, right? Well, look, we had to remove a few vines to make way for the building and we didn't want them to go to waste, so we turned one into a light feature.
Gorgeous.
First things first, I think some drinks are in order. You know, a great gin and tonic is very, very hard to beat, and we make an absolute cracker. Panettone Negroni is probably the way I should say it.
A Panettone Negroni?
Yes, the Panettone Negroni is probably the most popular cocktail that we do up here. Here they are now.
Oh, like magic.
I'll have the G&T, and you definitely have to try the Panettone Negroni.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
It's a good time, right?
Oh my God. It's Negroni and Christmas.
It's, well, clarified butter, all the goodness of the sultana and muscat fruit that grow down here. And of course, gin.
Yeah. Oh, this is excellent.
It's definitely a good time. Let's go and check out the lawn.
Yeah. What are we looking at here, Sean?
So what you're looking at is an extension of the Mount Lofty Ranges, and probably one of the most incredible views that I remember seeing driving up that driveway for the first time. I couldn't quite believe that we were actually going to build a distillery in such a magical place.
Yeah.
I'll be checking out the inside a little later, but first, let's get stuck right into a gin masterclass.
We love to be educational when it comes to the full experience. You can, of course, just come here and indulge in a gin and tonic and a pincer and have a really great afternoon. Or, of course, you can book a masterclass and get a real in-depth look at how we make the product itself.
I feel like I'm at a craft table.
There's a lot going on, isn't there?
Yeah.
Again, when it comes to, I guess, creating gins and the amount of care and effort that goes into it, here at Never Never, we've always been about really trying to take that to the next level and amplifying flavour as much as possible. And even our humble triple juniper, the reason why we call it triple juniper gin is that we're actually tripling that flavour process at every single stage. So there's 3 ways that we get juniper into the product, and at each stage we're amplifying as much juniper flavour as possible in order to create a really exciting and flavoursome gin. So we do a steeping process overnight, so 24 hours. We then pot distill the juniper. We then add more juniper to the vapour basket as well. So there's 3 very distinct ways that we try and inject as much flavour into that process as possible.
Juniper forward gins make them perfect for tonic water.
So our triple juniper gin is our signature gin. It effectively is the foundation of every single gin that we make. So the Southern Strength, the Juniper Freak, even the Ginache, the Oyster Shell gin, everything starts off with the triple juniper process.
You've got a few pretty outrageous gins happening.
It's like flavour, right?
Yeah.
It's all about kind of pumping it up to the max, and we like to do that through everything that we build. And for that reason, we've been really quite successful in awards, because when it comes to, I guess, some of the big global awards, having won things like World's Best Classic Gin, World's Best London Dry, Australia's Best Navy Gin back to back, and then on top of that, Tim, our distiller, winning World's Best Distiller twice in 1 year is from 2 separate competitions is a pretty cool thing.
All right, formalities out of the way.
So we've got the triple juniper.
So our triple juniper gin is our signature gin. It really highlights 9 key botanicals, and juniper is obviously one of the most important. But there's also some incredible other flavours that we use that are regularly used in creating that classic gin flavour. I always sort of like to reference cooking because that's my passion. Love a little bit of cooking. But when it comes to like the base ingredients that you need to have in a gin to make it that classic flavour, it's juniper berries, it's coriander seeds, it's licorice, and it's also Angelica, which is that bottle right on the other side. On the other side of that, there we go. So these 4 ingredients, make up so many different types of London Dry styles, and it's really, really quite pivotal in terms of setting up that flavour. And that's why they're included in ours. We also include citrus, lemon and lime. We use cinnamon, and probably my favourite ingredient is that one right on the end there, which is Tasmanian pepperberry. Now this is like the secret sauce of Australian gin. I'm going to put it right out there.
Should we be putting
a lot of
this
people, I
on
shouldn't,
TV?
every time I say this, the price of pepperberry goes up. It's one of Australia's most probably famous spices in terms of how unique and different it is. For me, it has this sort of in-between flavour of like pink peppercorn and Szechuan. It smells incredible, and the way that it works in a gin is outrageous. And for me, so many different Australian gins use it because of that reason. Just smell it. The smell of it alone is just absolutely spectacular.
Yum.
Reminds me
Stocks
of
just went up 10%.
Reminds me of like perfumed leather. Like when you buy a brand new bag or a brand new, and it's got that kind of like. My wife works in retail, and every time she smells it, she's like, it's like a Louis Vuitton, or it's like an Alexander Wang.
Now that is something I can get behind.
So should we have a little taste?
Oh yes, let's.
So on the nose, you should find all that wonderful juniper fragrance. That's again all the flavour that's coming from the pot. A little bit of that citrus character as well.
Super gin.
And again, it's just big, rich ball of flavour. And the reason why we add that much to the pot is so that when you add a little splash of tonic water, you're going to get the best sort of gin and tonic experience you can possibly have. Cheers.
Cheers. Smooth.
Really lovely. And again, when you use so much botanical weight and so much citrus and juniper, it's a really rich and a really heavy mouthfeel.
Yeah.
Now I'll add a little splash of tonic. You don't need much. And by adding that little splash of tonic water, what it also does is just opens it up.
And what about the more floral botanicals that you sort of get a hint of? Does the tonic
I feel it opens it up
enhance them?
and lifts it up, especially because with this particular tonic there's lemon thyme in it. And again, lemon thyme we use in our garnish for that reason. So we really are trying to create the perfect representation of a gin and tonic up here.
Is this a little DIY garnish pot?
Yeah, so in here is all of the different garnishes that we use when it comes to each of the releases. So I love working with herbs and citrus because they look pretty and they also taste amazing. They're also really easy to find. So if you go to the shops, if you want to recreate gin and tonics at home, they're not particularly difficult things to be able to do.
Little lemon thyme?
We could do it. Pop that in there and then...
I used my fingers.
No,
How
that's
uncouth.
okay. Not at all. It's probably easier than me digging around with a pair of tongs. Pop it in, and then you can pop a couple of cubes of ice in as well. Like me. And then this sort of shows you the difference between how it tastes neat and then how it tastes with that little extra flavour.
Look at that pretty little mini gin and
Cheers.
tonic.
Then straight away on the nose,
Yeah.
it's totally different, right?
Yeah. That note that you get when you first nose it straight is still very prevalent
Yeah.
though. It's a great time.
In fact, the very first time Triple Juniper ever saw the light of day officially was at my wedding when Tim and George gave me 20 litres of gin for 110 guests. So do the math on that.
Yikes.
It was all gone. It was a good night.
One gin down, plenty more to go. See you soon. I'm in McLaren Vale atop Chalk Hill, and wouldn't you believe it, it's time for a few more cocktails. This time it's Never Never's take on the classic martini. The classic martini is made with gin, vermouth and garnish, such as olive or lemon. Some call it the purest of all cocktails, and some just drink it. Something tells me these might just pass the test. For those visiting McLaren Vale, Chalk Hill has all bases covered. I'm meeting the venue manager Kate to find out all that's on offer here.
So we're really looking at creating lots of experiences for people that are coming through to learn a little bit more about our brand, learning more about the fabulous products we have here at Never Never, and understand more about how we make those happen, from the stills out the back to the bottles that come out on the shelf to the cocktails that go across the table as well.
Yes, this is an experience I'm excited about. Got a classic Gibson here, is that right?
Absolutely, yeah. So made using our export strength Triple Juniper. The Gibson's got cocktail onions in it that were part of a really cool collab we did with a local South Australian producer, taking the botanicals from our TJ gin and combining them with their cocktail onions, making a delicious classic Gibson that suits every time of the day.
Yeah, great. And what have you got over there?
So I've got a dirty martini here,
Nice.
made with our med gin
With Kalamata olives.
Kalamata olives from just down the road at Lloyd Brothers as well. We have some really cool collaborations that we do around the area. We use local produce, work with local suppliers whenever possible, which is one of the really beautiful things about working in the region.
Yeah, well, I think we should probably sample them.
Absolutely.
So, cheers.
Cheers. Enjoy.
Yum, delicious. You were talking about collaborating with local producers. You've actually got a sort of collaboration right here on site.
Absolutely. So Never Never Distilling Co, our distillery door, operates within the Chalk Hill Collective on the very top of Chalk Hill, and we're super lucky to work with other premium offerings up here as well. So we've got Chalk Hill Wines, who are a really well established award-winning small batch producers. They've been making wines for 60 years and are incredibly amazing at what they do. And then the food offering on site is Cucina di Strada, again another family-owned business local to the area, and they make incredible Italian street food. They're world famous for their pinzas, little soft, crispy, cloudy balls of dough.
Not pizza?
Not pizza? No, not pizza dough.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not pizza. No, a pinza.
I could easily spend a whole day here, and on Fridays the hill kicks on into the evening with live music, perfect to take in the sunset with a drink and pincer.
We do incredible stuff not only with the other partners on site. We're really excited about doing Tasting Australia again this year. We do site-wide feasts where we really celebrate their wine, our gin and the products that they make as well. Long lunches, evening dinners. We do lots of masterclasses as well. So Sean will often come up and run privately hosted mini masterclasses around martinis or making the perfect gin and tonic.
That reminds me, back to my masterclass.
Tell me about these little spray bottles over here.
Well, these are our little sort of botanical atomizers. So when we're doing larger sessions, it's obviously really hard to be able to kind of get the botanicals around to everybody. And often, you know, it can be a bit hard to understand the way that some of these aromas kind of should smell once they've been turned into a distillate. So these are a really easy way for us to be able to sort of spray some of these flavours into the air. So this is juniper. So you should be able to get the smell of juniper and then the smell of coriander seed. And right there
It's Sky Gin.
is basically gin. So it's a really fun way of being able to get the aroma within those larger groups.
That's very cool. So from the air to the glass.
Southern Strength is probably one of my favourite gins to talk about because it's the whole reason why we're here. When this gin won in 2019 World's Best Classic Gin. It was our first real global success in terms of something that was pretty big and it hadn't been won by an Australian gin at that particular time. Even all of the big gins in Australia hadn't won, an award of that size. So at that stage we had 4 full-time employees, and the next day we had 5 because we needed someone to answer the phone.
Straight away.
It was a pretty special day as a small business.
Was that the first gin that you ever created, or was the triple?
The triple juniper gin was the first gin, and the Southern Strength was the second. So the Southern Strength was slightly stronger representation of something a bit more savoury, and savoury gins tend to be kind of celebrated by the real gin nerds that are out there. It was built by bartenders.
As well as the core range, there's plenty of experimenting occurring with the Dark series.
The Dark series for us is this really fun way of experimenting. This is our Grenache. This started off as Dark series. It's only just been released into our core last year. So
this one's made it in?
It's made it in. It's made the cut. The Australian market is probably one of the only markets in the entire world that's starting to actually see a gin category expand from wine regions. And obviously when it comes to Four Pillars, Seppesfield Road, the Barot, there's so many different amazing sort of gin brands that are out there that are actually creating flavours from their own region. And it's catching fire, and it's certainly becoming really well followed around the world. And this is our representation of McLaren Vale.
I've seen some Shiraz gins, but not so much Grenache.
This was the very first Grenache gin. It was a very fun time to sort of be trying to work out how to create something that is quite a challenging product. Normally when you're working with gin, you don't have to really stress too much about vintage.
Just added in another complication for you.
Absolutely. When it comes to tonnages and tonnages and tonnages of fruit coming off the vine at a very specific time, it's all about timing, and it's all about making sure that you've got enough gin to be able to combine with that fruit as soon as it comes off the vine. So, whereas you can make triple juniper all the way through the year, Grenache you can make once a year, and that's why it's probably one of our more specialist products when it comes to flavour. Do you want to give it a try?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So where did the grapes come from?
So initially, the grapes all came from site. That was back when we first launched as a Dark series, and that's when we only required 1 tonne. When we asked for 12...
This is what happens when you win awards, Sean.
It became a little bit more challenging to get it all from here. So this particular product was made with Hither and Yong and also Dogridge wine. Their Grenache fruit, and it's absolutely spectacular. On the nose, the colour you can see,
the colour's
just absolutely breathtaking. It's that wonderful, vibrant, deep hues. When you add a little dilution, it becomes this kind of amazing watermelon pink as well, this lovely hibiscus sort of colour. On the nose, you'll get sort of like a slight tinny plum note. This wonderful sort of jammy freshness is coming through as well. For me, it's kind of got
better than old jam.
Better than old jam, you're right. But it's definitely off the nose. It's really inviting. It's got this wonderful kind of fragrant red fruit character, which has always been a big part of not only Grenache, but certainly this style of particular gin. It's a bit dangerous. It kind of it's really lovely just on ice.
That's it's like a floral kick at the end.
The beautiful thing is it's still a gin, and that's the one thing that people sort of forget.
At 38%, it's an important thing to remember. The experimental gins don't stop there. This next one I'm very curious about.
Oyster Shell has been a revelation for us.
Has anyone done oyster shell?
Yes. So there's only a handful of oyster shell gins around the world. Started off in Japan, there's a couple in Wales and Scotland and Ireland, but we are one of the first in Australia to be able to do it. There's a little distillery over in New South Wales that's doing it as well. Oyster shell is a really unique ingredient in terms of, it doesn't add a huge amount of aroma, but it adds a lot of texture. It adds this wonderful kind of minerality and also a soft creaminess. And when you distill it, alongside other seaside flavours, what you end up with is this wonderful kind of reflection of the coast.
It's not a hugely fragrant kind of.
Not when they're cleaned. When they're a bit old, they could become a lot more fragrant. Thankfully, we use them pretty much straight away. They were effectively consumed at our distillery, And then as soon as they were consumed...
What a tough job.
I know, right? It's a tough day. It's a great way of using the shell and not wasting the shell. So
It also makes for a cracking Gibson martini.
It smells like the ocean.
that's what we're going for.
Like the ocean that you want to drink.
Yeah, definitely not like a bad ocean smell, you know, when the seaweed comes up and it's been there for a few days. But there's a whole bunch of different botanicals that are in here that are coastal flavours. So when it comes,
like the dune, like the scent of the dunes.
it was really supposed to be that kind of connection to the coast. We are only a couple of kilometres away.
Yeah, you can see the coast.
You can see it from the car park.
Yeah.
So you've got coastal daisy bush, you've got salt bush, you've got gelatin wax, which is that wonderful kind of almost lemongrassy note on the top.
Yeah.
And then of course when you have
The citrusy, but it's not like a fruit citrus.
yeah,
right?
it's sort of like some people kind of refer it to almost sort of like a Thai kind of characteristic.
Oh, yeah,
It's kind of got that fresh citrus, but also that kind of lemongrass note. And on the palate, you'll get that kind of creaminess and wonderful kind of mouthfeel that the oyster shell is able to provide.
That's good.
It's decadent, and I was really surprised by the way that people respond to it. Like it was supposed to be this sort of like a bit out there and a bit weird, but it's without question been one of our biggest selling gins all year. So
Yeah, right.
oyster shells are hot,
Yum. That's delicious.
amazing.
Believe it or not, there's plenty more gin to come, so stay tuned. I'm starting to lose track of all the drinks I've had, but there's still time for more. So inside, it's time for another cocktail.
Oh, thank you.
Very welcome.
What have we got in front of us?
So you've got one of our spritz cocktails that are served on tap here. Very, very popular. That's our Pom Harvey, built with a basil-infused gin, sweet vermouth and pomegranate juice. And I've got our equally famous Ganache and Squash.
Oh, nice. And we've got a bottle of gins here.
Yeah, it all sort of started with Triple Juniper. Triple Juniper was really the first gin that we made, making sure that Juniper was the hero of all the drinks that we created.
Now, how did you get to this point of creating these amazing cocktails and gins and...
My background was in bars. I worked across Australia in some of the best cocktail bars. I then transitioned into working for brands and I got a really wonderful education around what it takes to build a brand within our current market. I met Tim through my wife.
And Tim is a co-founder.
Yeah, Tim's our co-founder. Tim's a producer. He's head distiller. And through Tim's wife and my wife, they were best mates through school. Tim and I were kind of like the awkward guys standing at the back of every wedding and baptism and just sort of having a chat. And one day he gave me a glass of some spirit that he had made, which was weird because Tim worked in a bank and I didn't
Just
really...
a little moonshine business
Yeah,
out of that.
didn't really expect it from him. Thankfully I said it was pretty good, and it wasn't really until we met George, who was our third founder, that the entire kind of plan came together. George and Tim, again, very Adelaide, knew each other through school and through uni. And I guess when it came to what George brings, he really brought his understanding of business. He had been working in finance in Sydney and had a real grasp of not only how to grow a distillery, but his connection to flavour is incredible as well.
Speaking of flavour,
Delicious.
cheers.
Pleasure.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that is fresh.
that's on the sun-drenched lawn, sparkling spritz.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the most popular drinks up here.
I can see why.
Well, my time here is almost up, so let's up the juniper intensity, shall we?
When it comes to, I guess, the last sort of taster, for us the Juniper Freak was kind of pushing the boat out a little bit in terms of like wondering how much juniper people could take. The Freak is, a big, bold, intense kind of version of a Navy strength here in Australia. It's actually Australia's only vintage gin that celebrates the annual juniper harvest that happens in the Republic of North Macedonia each
So
year.
it's a vintage gin.
It's a vintage gin, so each year is supposed to represent that juniper harvest. So juniper actually changes year on year. The flavours within the juniper berry can develop depending on whether or not, how it was picked and what time of the year it's picked. And each year is a little bit different. So what we thought would be exciting was to actually use those differences as a way of sort of underpinning a gin style, and that's what the Freak is.
Wow.
We were like, what should we call it? You know, who are the people out there that really love gin? And there's these very, very avid juniper freaks out there that just want bigger, bolder, more intense, more flavour.
Maybe you're a bit of a juniper
It does
freak.
say it on my business card actually, which is, so on the nose, obviously it's a really rich and intense juniper style.
Wow, it got even bigger than the triple.
Even bigger.
How did you do that?
Even bigger. And then when you add that little bit of tonic, you'll see it actually cloud up. And that cloudiness...
Is that because of the oils from the juniper?
That's exactly right. The
I'm very
masterclass is absolutely working. So those juniper oils actually become visible under dilution, and we like to keep them in there. Some big brands like to filter them out. We kind of like to keep the flavour in there because it makes a really cracking product.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, aesthetic, right? So I think, you know, everyone can have a slightly cloudy gin and tonic once in a while. If you like G&Ts, like this is...
Oh, wow.
This is your gin. It's very much built around... You can see exactly what happens when you amplify the juniper character. It actually makes the gin and tonic more classic in its flavour. We like to use pink grapefruit and rosemary because that combination is great and it pretty much grows in 9 out of 10 South Australians' backyards, I think.
That's wild. You add the tonic and it felt like it made it taste even more like gin.
Yeah, I think it's because a lot of people associate, you know, the flavour of gin with tonic. That's often how they have it. Cheers.
Cheers. I think I may too be a juniper freak.
Yes, it is certainly one of my favourite gin and tonics.
Yeah, yum.
Is there such thing as too much gin? In my case, I don't think there is. Although I certainly gave it a good shot here. I think it's time to have a little rest out on the lawn. But I'll see you next time.